recently looked into buying a 5th generation Toyota 4Runner, and what I realized is how cars can be the biggest wealth killer. Let me dive deeper into that. With the recent reveal of the 2025 Toyota 4Runner, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there very interested in purchasing this vehicle. But before you do that, maybe this is something that you probably should consider. And for the sake of this video, I will use the Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro that I went and looked at personally, simply because I have all the numbers. And this is a 2016. So for anyone unfamiliar with the Toyota 4Runner trim level lineup, the TRD Pro is typically the highest. So that is the one with all the bells and whistles and typically the most expensive one. And throughout the video, I want you to keep in mind there is a 9-year difference between the 2016 and the 2025, which I still think you'll be very surprised at the price and just how much it still costs, because this vehicle does not depreciate in value as much as other vehicles. But like I said, I am using the TRD Pro trim, so it's of course going to be more expensive than if we were to use a lower trim level. So this 2016 Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro is starting at $31,750. And there are added fees such as documentation fees of $899, and electronic fees of $199, a title fee of $18, and a tag fee of $20. These fees add up to be $1,136. But then you also have sales tax, which for this vehicle in my area is $2,369.22. Bringing the total price to $36,253.22. And that's the price if you want to walk out the door with the Toyota 4Runner. So if you just had the cash on hand and you want to pay for it straight up, it's $36,253.22. But majority of us do not purchase a vehicle that way. We typically finance it. So let's talk about a few of those options. So according to the dealership that was selling this vehicle, they provided a list of what the monthly payments would look like based on different down payments and months financed. On this chart, the dealership did use an APR of 10.1% to 10.7%. But if you were to finance this 4Runner for 60 months with $0 down, then you would pay about $778 a month. If you were to finance it for 72 months, it would bring it down to $679 a month. Say you put $5,000 down, then your monthly payments for 60 months will be about $672. And with that down payment, it would be about $586 if you financed it for 72 months. And in those 72 months, with that 10.1% interest rate, that means you pay up to $12,235.24 just in interest. So when all said and done, after 6 years, instead of paying the original $36,253.22, you actually end up paying $48,488.46. And of course, these numbers would change depending on how much money you put down, how long you finance it for, and of course your actual interest rate depending on your credit score and a bunch of different factors. So all that stuff does account, but I'm going based off the numbers that I got from the dealership. So what makes this a wealth killer? According to Google, the median income in the US is about $37,585, according to statistics collected in 2022. And the average household income was about $74,580 in 2022 as well. So that means that per month, the average person brings in $3,132, and the average household brings in $6,215 a month, which would mean even at the longest finance term, which is 72 months, and the lowest down payment, which is $0, with the APR that the dealership listed at 10.1%, the monthly payment coming out at $674 would be 21.5% of an average person's income. And as for household, it would be 10.8% of household incomes. And that may not sound like an issue, but we're only speaking on one vehicle. And the majority of people do want new cars and not old cars. So we are talking about a 2016 in this video. And that's how much the monthly payments would be for a 2016, a 9-year-old vehicle. That's something that you truly got to account for. Majority of people don't, because let's be honest, we like nice and new things, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you don't make enough money to do so, it does make life a little bit more difficult. Me personally, I am a fan of Toyota. I don't think I would spend that much on a vehicle, but hey, you never know what can happen in the future. I don't plan on doing that, and I would not advise anyone to spend that much on a vehicle, especially a 9-year-old vehicle. I would try to wait a little longer for it to depreciate a little bit more, but with these vehicles, I'm not going to lie, they don't depreciate very quickly. They actually hold their value, as you can see. And one of the things that you have to consider more than anything is possibly losing your job for any reason. You could be laid off, you could just be plain fired. And in those cases, you do not want to have a high car payment. And whenever you finance a vehicle, you do have to get full coverage, which is pretty expensive on newer vehicles. So you don't want to get left with those high expenses, or even be burdened with them, or even think about them, because just thinking about them could be extremely stressful. And this is coming from somebody that had that experience before in life. So you don't want to have to stress that stuff. Of course, everybody like the bright and shiny thing, and I fall into that category as well. I don't want to sit up here and act like I don't do the exact same things, but sometimes you do got to think things through and weigh out your eyes. But for a 2016, there were a lot of things that I liked about this truck, like the 17-inch matte black alloy wheels. And for some people that don't understand the 4Runner, some TRD pros don't have running boards. I also like the pattern that was put on these running boards. So that is also another touch that I really like about this TRD Pro. And if you look here on the roof, you will also see it has roof rails, which I'm a fan of because I do like to do outdoorsy stuff from time to time. They do have the all-weather floor mats. I think the thing that I like the most about this truck is how much space it has in the trunk. If that wasn't enough room in the trunk already, you also can do this with the back seat. But I can't stress it enough. Like I said, this is a 2016. And if you're in the market for a Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro, I would say honestly, the 5th generation is not far from the 6th. Of course, if you want the best features out of the vehicle, you would get the latest model, like the new screen, the different dash layout, and the different gear shifts and stuff of that nature. I understand there's some people out there that do like the newest stuff, but if you are a fan, I would definitely recommend the 2016 from my personal experience. But with that being said, I'll see y'all on the next one.